Generation meteorologist Joe Shock here with a tropical update. I know it's been a while. We haven't talked since last hurricane season. So here we are as we enter the beginning of the 2022 hurricane season. And yes, we do have some things to look at today in our tropical update for the Atlantic Basin. We're going to do also a little bit of a quick discussion on the East Pacific because we do have an area out there that is going to be named, that's actually named Agatha, or becoming named Agatha 91E, which is going to be a real helpful process in get going of what I think is going to be Tropical Storm Alex, days 8 to 15, and we'll take a look at that here over the course of our video. You know how I like to start. I like to start synoptically, globally, and then bringing it down and, focusing in on a particular area of the basin. So here we are with the MJO, the European MJO. You can see we're in phase 6 coming to phase 7. Then you can see towards the end of the period, towards around the 10th of June or so, we're going to be coming, really probably around the 3rd, 4th of June, but we will be in phase 8 and then hanging around in phase 8 or phase 1 as we enter roughly about the 10th of June. So there's the European. The Australian looks like this, same kind of idea, but again, more amplified than the European. And I have been doing some verification, and it does appear that the Australian is doing better than the European with at least the amplitude of the MJO, not so much, the phases, but how amplitude it is, as you can see. The European has left amplitude with its overall rotation, but you can see the European still, closer to phase 8, while the Australian is in phase 1 by that time, of at least for most of the ensemble members. But either way, phase 8 and 1 like this through at least the 10th of June, and then you can see where it takes it towards the end of the June, looping it around to the more of those favorable phases, phase 2, 3, and 4, and then probably coming back around through phase 6 by the end of June. But at least for the next 2 to 3 weeks, they're going to be in those favorable phases of the Madden-Julian oscillation. You can see phase 8 and 1. Okay, we're going to get the system in the East Pacific that comes into Mexico over the upcoming week. That's a great correlation there. We're going to get the enhancement in the Southwest Caribbean from the system Agatha that's coming into Mexico by the end of the week and into next weekend. So you can see how nicely phase 8 and 1 look there, and then you can see the Gulf of Mexico and along the East Coast quite amplified as well. Week 1 on the JMA, here's the upward motion over the Eastern Pacific and the Caribbean. There's the enhanced rainfall in the Eastern Pacific crossing over into the Caribbean, and you can see the upper air pattern at 500 millibars. There's that ridge over troubled water, and I get that song from Joe Bastardi. He's the one who taught me that several years back, but I mean, it's certainly nothing farther from the truth that you have very strong ridging in the mid-levels. It helps to consolidate air in the atmosphere underneath that, so that's a pattern that is quite notorious for tropical development globally, not just in the Atlantic, but globally, that works out quite nicely. Week 2 looks like this. You can see the very, very strong upward motion over this part of the world. That's incredible. I mean, if this was like September, this would have been unbelievably impressive, I think. But as it is for June, I think this is going to be a pretty impressive situation, June 8th to June 16th. And you can see what it looks like there, the upward motion. You can see the enhanced rainfall, especially in the northeastern part of the Gulf of Mexico and along the East Coast. And then you can see the low heights over the Caribbean. So that also is a very favorable look for tropical development. Ocean temperatures, plenty warm, Gulf of Mexico, along the East Coast. And of course, the MDR really warming very nicely. So as we get deeper into the season, that will become more of a player. And the drivers for tropical waves and tropical cyclone genesis, as we call it. But again, Gulf of Mexico along the East Coast, very warm. And then here in the Eastern Pacific, quite warm as well, where this system will be developing over the course of the upcoming week. Looking at 500 again, same kind of deal here. This is just a snapshot, actually, valid around day 10, because what's going to happen is this ridge begins to break down this week over the eastern part of the United States, and the ridge begins to pull up towards, we'll get some blocking that goes on. Whatever is down here in the Gulf of Mexico, this could get very interesting, because whatever is down here, especially if this is a developed tropical cyclone, then it might be a threat to possibly Florida, could be a threat further northeast. The European ensembles run a tropical cyclone from the Gulf of Mexico all the way to Maine. They've done that on the last several runs now, so that's something I'm keeping a close eye on. Is this system that might be coming through out of the Gulf of Mexico going to be a threat to Florida? Is it going to be a threat all the way up the East Coast? It's not out of the question, given the modeling that we are seeing right now. So that's certainly something we'll be taking a look at as the week evolves and stuff. And then again, you can see the European ensemble probability for a tropical cyclone development obviously quite high, and really, I mean, this is a really impressive look for early in the season, but nevertheless, the pattern is quite favorable for one situation to evolve. And then finally, and we've got some new graphic map products that you'll be seeing this year, and you can see my tropical development favorability map, at least through the 15th of June. Favorable in this part of the world, and of course the MDR, as we would expect at this time of year, is very unfavorable and hostile for tropical development. But again, in close development next couple weeks, going to be very fair game. That's it for now, and thank you for watching.